Hello, everyone, and welcome to Self-Determination. There are 4 modules within this sequence, all equaling about 10 minutes apiece, which should give you at least 1 hour of training. So again, there's 4 modules, and all 4 modules need to be completed for you to get the 1 hour of either Act 48 training hours or 1 hour of training hours. If you have any questions, my email is right on the slide. You are more than welcome to email me with any questions regarding the training hours. So let's get started with self-determination. What is the purpose of public education? Public education is going to prepare our students for adult life by either attending to their intellectual and developmental needs and challenges and challenging them to achieve at their highest level possible. Again, public education, we need to prepare our students for adult life. We want them to be independent as possible. So we need to teach them a number of skills. And a lot of those skills are, of course, their academics, their reading, their writing, their math. But we also need to focus on those more functional skills. And self-determination encompasses a lot of components. So here's a nice little slide. If you don't know where you're going, you'll end up someplace else. Again, we need to focus on where do we want to be? Where do we want to go? What is my goal for adult life? We need to start setting those goals. We need to be self-determined to say, this is what I want out of life. Now set the steps. How am I going to get there? And those are very important self-determination skills, especially when we're talking about transition. We always need to keep our eye on the ball. Where are we going after high school? What do I want to do with myself? Whether it's some post-secondary training, going on to maybe college or a trade school or a technical school, or am I looking at going right into an employment? And what does that look like? What type of job do I want to do? And what skills do I need to do to achieve to get to that employment? And of course, independent living. I want to have a place of my own. So I need to know how I'm going to pay my bills. I need to know how to budget my checkbook. I need to know how to check my savings and checking account so I know how much money I have. I need to be able to budget to say, this is what I'm making. This is my income for a month. Then I set aside what bills I need to pay and what extra do I have. So I need to know where I'm going, because if I don't, I'm not sure where I'm going to end up. So our students begin with the end in mind. Again, keep the eye on the ball. Transition, where am I going? So I focus on one student. Now, I'm looking at 2 years after high school graduation. What are they going to be doing during the week? Who are they spending time with? What does their typical week look like? Where do they visit? What places do they go? Where are they living? We need to answer those questions to make sure that our students know where they're headed. Where do you want to go? Where do you see yourself living? What type of place? An apartment? A house? What does that look like? Do you plan on having a roommate? Those are all questions that we need to talk about and focus when we're working with self-determination with our students. So what is self-determination? What skills and habits make young people successful? There is a video link on your screen. You would need to copy and paste that link into your browser, and it'll take you to a YouTube video. It is called Self-Determination. It is the Youth Credo. And it's really important to watch this video so you get a chance to see what young adults are saying to us. What do they want us to do? How do they want us to react or act or work with them? And it's really important. And I think it provides us with a different outlook to what our young adults are looking from us and what they want in their lives. So please take some time to please watch this video. It is very important. And again, it gives you some insight to what our young adults are actually saying. Now we need to look at what our federal mandates are. IDEA, be planned based on the student's preferences and interests. that has to be included. So a lot of our students should be doing interest surveys using certain online tools, Naviance. There are a lot of online tools that can use to say, this is what I want to be. This is the things that I like. And it helps them and guides them into a direction for more post-secondary education training or employment and what that looks like. And then, of course, we have our Rehabilitation Act. So in no way diminishes the rights to live independently or enjoy life. So we have to look at self-determination, making choices. How are they contributing to society? What are they going to be doing in their free time? Do they plan on volunteering, and volunteering at what places? So again, we have to look at what are those interest surveys telling us? What are our students telling us based upon their levels of interest? What do they like to do? What do they want to do? How do they want to spend their free time? So here you can see the components of self-determination. There are quite a few of them. We are not going to be focusing on every single one of these, but I will touch upon some of them as we move through the modules. But all of these are very, very important. Having choices. We all have choices and have to make a choice. I need to have all the information before I can have any type of decision making. Problem solving is huge and is very high level order thinking skill. When I look at a problem, I need to evaluate it. I need to break it down. And all too many times our students lack the impulse control to say, well, I need to take a step back here. Let me think about this before I say, before I act. All too many times our students are very reactive and they're very impulsive. So slowing themselves down and having a problem-solving chart helps. Goal setting, action planning, self-evaluation. I set a goal. These are the steps I need to achieve that goal, and then I evaluate myself. Did I do every step correctly? Did I get to the goal that I wanted? Self-regulation. That is something that, again, is very huge for our kiddos. How do I self-regulate? Do I even understand when I'm starting to get frustrated or getting overwhelmed or getting anxious? What do those steps look like? What am I saying? What am I doing? Self-advocacy, again, is huge. They need to be able to self-advocate. All too many times, our students are so reliant on staff to prompt them, to give them the advice that they need. They need to be able to self-advocate. They also need to understand and be very self-aware of themselves, what their disability is, and what their strengths and weaknesses are. That is huge. And all too many times people think, weakness. I don't want to show my weakness. We all have weaknesses, and it's okay to have a weakness. And we have to understand that and be able to advocate when we need assistance. And self-advocacy, again, very important. All of these pieces under self-determination work together in some way. So we need to build upon a strong foundation. The more skills a student has, the more post-school options there are. And of course, these are all the areas we need to focus on. Of course, reading, writing, and math problem solving. These are all the areas that we talk about when we're looking at our present levels of education within an IEP. And we need to address all of these areas. There has to be something within the IEP to address all of these areas. If there are no issues with fine or gross motor, then we have to have a statement stating that there are no issues in gross motor skills. There are no issues in fine motor skills. But we need to make sure that every area is addressed within the IEP, whether it is an actual area of need or if it's an area of a strength, we still have to address it some way in the IEP. Now we're going to move into those transition skills and self-determination. We also look at employability, independent living, travel, job specific. But you can see when looking at all those underlying skills, how self-determination is a huge umbrella. We are looking at how do I set the goal? What goal do I want to have for my life? Then I have to evaluate, did I meet that goal? And if I didn't, why didn't I get there? What do I have to change to hopefully get and meet that goal? So I can make informed decisions. So I can understand what my disability is and request accommodations, whether I'm looking at any type of post-secondary training, whether it's college, it's a junior college, a trade school, a vocational school, whatever education, I need to make sure I request those accommodations. And it's the same thing when I'm looking at a job. If I want to go into employment, what accommodations do I need to have? And I need to be able to disclose that to my employer so they understand who I am and to show I have self-determination skills. And these are my goals for my life. So the key concepts, we must provide both explicit instruction. Excuse me. Explicit instruction, remember, I do, we do, you do. Very, very important. I do, we do, you do. Explicit instruction. And then regular guided practice across all environments. That, again, all of those pieces have to come together to make sure that we're providing the right instruction, they're getting the guided practice they need, and that is across all environments. Because remember, I can self-advocate if I'm working with a student, a certain staff member, but if I leave them and I go to another class and I don't self-advocate, I don't have any generalization. And now I am not practicing those skills across all environments. Okay, you have completed Module 1 of self-determination.